Good morning. Today is Wednesday, 31st January 2018. I'm Ebony Brandon. These are this morning's top stories. Nationally, Roberto Hector explains his election petition. Internationally, analysts say Donald Trump's first State of the Union address was far from factual. And in sport, big victories mark the opening day of the regional Super 50 tournament. We also have today's weather and Carib update. Now for a look at the news developments in detail. Without divulging specifics of the argument he will make in his election petition, the Nevis Reformation Party's Roberto Hector has shared some of the concerns over which he felt the need to challenge the outcome of the St. Paul's District 1 Nevis Island election result. In the December 18, 2017 election, incumbent Hector received 585 votes, which was not enough to defeat challenger Spencer Brand's 596 votes. The already extremely close 11-vote CCM win of the District 1 seat was even more tense as a relatively high number of votes were spoiled, 12 with another 3 rejected. Even before the polls closed, there were accusations of irregularities over the manner in which the election in District 1 was conducted. In a public statement on Tuesday afternoon, Mr. Hector finally disclosed some of the issues which he feels compelled legal action to be taken.
On election day, a number of irregularities were recorded by our polling agents. Persons were disenfranchised in that their names were purposely removed from the election register. In addition, persons whose names were not included on the register were allowed to vote in a very arbitrary, capricious, and haphazard manner, contrary to our electoral laws and regulation. I have found, for example, that a dead person voted at the Charleston police station. Persons also voted without proper identification. Further, I must say to you, we were able to uncover a plot by the Concerned Citizens Movement and persons within the electoral office to produce a supplemental list allowing persons who were not included on the register of voters to vote on election day. In fact, at the Methodist Church, a CCM executive member who does not vote in the constituency or at that polling station was allowed inside of the said polling station to give directions to the presiding officer as to who should be allowed to vote.
If the allegations prove accurate, in addition to being a breach of electoral laws, Mr. Hector, an attorney, said it also casts a very dark shadow over the Federation's electoral authorities.
This, indeed, goes against the grain of our electoral laws. Those responsible for the administration of our electoral system, it appears they lack the necessary probity, honesty, and integrity that is required to ensure that the elections are free and fair and democratic. The elections have left us with a number of unanswered questions as it relates to the manipulation of the electoral system. Questions that must be answered by the court.
And in other news this morning, the adverse effects of climate change diminishing the fisheries sector, coupled with a growing demand for marine resources, has pushed the St. Kitts Department of Marine Resources to look at aquaculture as a possible solution. Aquaculture is the cultivation of aquatic animals, plant, and specifically fish, shellfish, and seaweed in natural or controlled marine or freshwater environments. During the national consultation on the aquaculture sector held yesterday at the NEMA headquarters, experts in the field engaged with community stakeholders on the benefits of pursuing aquaculture. The one-day session gave an overview of aquaculture, a strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats analysis of the project, demonstrations, and costs associated with undertaking the project. According to aquaculture review specialist Dr. Leighton Narain, aquaculture could increase farm production, reap economic benefits, provide alternative employment opportunities and incomes in the Eastern Caribbean small island states, and contribute to food security and food import reduction. Meanwhile, hydroponics expert Stuart Laplace said while the initial cost to develop a sustainable aquaculture sector may be high, the machinery has the potential to reap substantial profits over time. He said that the machinery will be introduced to the Federation and will cost approximately $13,000 and produce 75 pounds of fish monthly after a 5-month setup period. Laplace went on that once the setup is complete and the machine begins to yield products, investors can expect a minimum of $2,700 EC profit per month from production. In international developments this morning, United States President Donald Trump's first State of the Union address is being greeted coldly by most analysts who say it was far from factual regarding the statistics and claims made. Ari Melba fact-checks Trump's claims on the economy and immigration.
A long speech with many claims. Our fact check focuses on jobs and immigration. President Trump broadly claiming that he enacted the biggest tax cut in history. That is false. The fact is, it's not even close. Trump's tax cut not even in the top 5. It's estimated to be the 8th largest as a share of the economy. That's according to a nonpartisan federal budget committee. President Trump made another sweeping historical claim about jobs.
African American unemployment stands at the lowest rate ever recorded.
Clear skepticism there in that moment from members of the Congressional Black Caucus. Now, the claim itself is true. African American unemployment is at the lowest rate in the modern recorded era. The debate, of course, though, is about credit. This dramatic drop began under the previous administration. Obama had passed the stimulus, and while most presidents do take credit for the economy on their watch, the statistics alone certainly don't resolve this debate. Now, our final fact check, Donald Trump's claims on immigration and a visa program.
The third pillar ends the visa lottery, a program that randomly hands out green cards without any regard for skill, merit, or the safety of American people.
That's a really sweeping claim here, that the visa lottery program would be basically something with, quote, no regard for skill, merit, or safety. That is false. In fact, under the law, this visa program requires U.S. government background checks for security, plus either a high school education or 2 years work experience, and that's according to the State Department. So a lot of different ways to get visas, of course, but it is wrong for the president to stand in front of the country and say the current system doesn't address safety or merit at all.
And in sport, reigning champions Barbados Pride and fellow hometown team combined campuses and colleges Mariners launched the regional Super 50 festival with resounding victories in Group A in Barbados on Tuesday. Lethal spells from West Indies fast bowling pair of Miguel Cummings and Kemar Roach followed up solid batting by uncapped all-rounder Kevin Stout and West Indies batsman Roston Chase to lead Pride to a convincing 171-run victory over Trinidad and Tobago Red Force. And the batting of the Barbados-based Mariners, led by Kajon Otley, set things up before their bowlers, led by veteran left-arm spinner Ryan Hines, formalized a comfortable 115-run victory over Windward Islands Volcanoes. In the Pride Red Force encounter, which saw Pride make 278 for 9 off their 50 overs to beat Red Force by 171 runs at Kensington Oval in Bridgetown, Cummings grabbed 4 for 35 from 9 overs, and the Pride fast bowlers made light work of the Red Force batting. Kemar Roach warmed up for the ICC Cup qualifiers in Zimbabwe, taking 3 for 33 from 8 overs, and fellow West Indies pacer Carlos Brathwaite supported with 2 for 32 from 4 overs. Sunil Narayan, batting at 8, blasted 7 fours and 3 sixes in a crisp 51 from 28 balls to help Red Force avoid the humiliation of falling for one of their lowest totals ever in the tournament, but no other batsman distinguished himself. Cummings struck a vital ball, removing West Indies white ball opener Evan Lewis for 5. Red Force was 17 for 4 and they never recovered as the Pride Pacers extracted generous bounce and movement from the helpful surface, freshened by moist night air, and collected most of their scalps to catches either to the keeper or slip fielders. It was a total contrast to earlier in the day when Stout resolutely gathered 74 from 107 balls and clubmate Chase carved out an even 50 from 47 balls to give momentum to the Pride batting. Stout played a supporting role in key partnerships of 97 for the second wicket with West Indies batsman Shai Hope and 67 for the third wicket with left-hander Jonathan Carter. Hope made 47 and Carter added 37 before they were wiped away in a period when the Pride stumbled from 183 for 3 in the 35th over to 216 for 6 in the 43rd over. But Chase led a rearguard action of 55 for the 7th wicket, with Ashley Nurse help beefing up the Pride total down the stretch. In the Mariners versus Volcanoes match, which concluded with the Mariners making 228 off 48.2 overs to beat the Volcanoes 113 off 29.3 overs at 3W's Oval in Cave Hill, Mariners were handed a solid start when Kajon Otley and Corbin put on 94 for the first wicket. The left-handed Otley struck 4 fours and 2 sixes in the top score of 60 from 89 balls, and Corbin produced a brisk 55-ball knockoff 44, which included 2 fours and 3 sixes. When Corbin fell in the 18th over, Otley combined with his younger brother Yannick to keep the innings flowing. Both brothers fell in the space of 3 balls in successive overs, leaving Mariners on 130 for 3 and leaving Hines and Vikash Mahan to rally the innings in a 42-run 4th wicket stand before West Indies pacer Kesrick Williams dismantled the rest of the batting, ending with 4 for 70 from 9.2 overs. Volcanoes lost international Johnson Charles to the second ball of the innings without a run on the board when Hines, opening the bowling, trapped him LBW. Fast bowler Jermaine Levy accounted for Devon Smith, the leading scorer in the West Indies' first-class season, which ended 2 Sundays ago, also LBW, without scoring in the following over as Volcanoes limped to 14 for 2. Other batsmen threatened briefly, but none made a significant impact as the Volcanoes crumbled. And that look at the Super 50 opening first day brings us now to today's weather forecast. Over St. Kitts and Nevis, a drier and more stable atmosphere is now settled across the area and will continue to linger over and around the islands during the next 24 to 48 hours, keeping chances for shower activity very low over this time. Skies today will be mostly sunny with a very low chance of showers. Seas are rough with swells of 2.1 to 3.1 meters or 7 to 10 feet. Warnings remain in place for small craft operators and sea bathers against hazardous sea conditions. Winds are northeasterly to east-northeasterly at 10 to 18 miles per hour with higher gusts over open waters. Today's maximum expected temperature is 28 degrees Celsius or 83 degrees Fahrenheit. The sea level is 1,013.6 millibars or 29.93 inches. The amount of rainfall for the month of January stands at 91.8 millimeters or 3.61 inches. The sun will set today at 6:06 p.m. And that brings us to the end of this morning's news presentation. Now for a recap of the top stories. Nationally, Roberto Hector has explained his election petition. Internationally, analysts say Donald Trump's first State of the Union address was far from factual. And in sport, big victories marked the opening day of the regional Super 50 tournament. I'm Ebony Brandon. Thank you for tuning in. Stay with us. Up next, Carib Update.